Ruben Amorim bites back at Wayne Rooney after being labelled naïve over his title ambitions, insisting it's really easy being a pundit, just weeks after United legend was sacked by Plymouth. Ruben Amorim hit back at Wayne Rooney and insisted that he isn't naive enough to think it will be easy for Manchester United to rule English football again. After seeing his team go out of the FA Cup on penalties to Fulham, Amorim doubled down on the main objective at United, who have launched Project 21 to try and win the title by 2028. "I know we are losing games and trophies this season, but the goal is to win the Premier League," he said. "I don't know how long it's going to take, but that is our goal. If you think like that, you can suffer a little in these defeats, a lot sometimes. But we have a goal, and we continue forward no matter what." Working at Old Trafford as a pundit for BBC, Rooney claimed it was naive for Amorim to make such a bold statement when United are currently 14th in the table. "He says win the Premier League, but how can they compete?" said Rooney. "The goal should be to get further up the table. I think it's a little bit naive to say we're looking to win the Premier League, because from where they are now, they're a long way off that." His claims came after the Red Devils were knocked out of the FA Cup on Sunday, following a disappointing 3-4 loss over the penalty shootout against Fulham. The Cottagers took the lead at the end of the first half through Calvin Bassey's header after a corner kick play before Bruno Fernandes equalised with a spectacular left-foot strike in the 71st minute. However, United's hopes were still high, as they clearly dominated the game with a significant overperformance in shots on target, despite just 41% in ball possession. Rooney's comments were put to Amorim in his post-match press conference, and United's head coach was quick to have a go back at United's all-time top scorer. "Being naive is to think we are going to do it this season or be the best contender next season," he said. "So I know that in this moment, everybody knows everything. I was a pundit when I finished my career. I know it's really easy. Our goal is to win the Premier League. Maybe it is not with me, but our goal as a club, the board, is to win the Premier League like we did in the past, with all the great glories and legends of this club. I'm not naive. That's why I'm here at 40 years old, coaching Manchester United." United are currently 14th in the Premier League standings, with only 33 points after 27 games. Unfortunately for Amorim's men, they've got some challenging matches left, such as a home clash against Arsenal next week and the Manchester derby at the beginning of April, followed by a tough trip to Newcastle. Previously, the Portuguese admitted that this version of the Red Devils may be the worst in their history. Rooney recorded only 5 wins and lost 5 out of his 6 last matches with Plymouth, including 2 4-0 humiliations over the Christmas period. His last game in charge was a 2-0 defeat against another relegation rival, Oxford United, extending the winless run to 9 games. The former England star has an underwhelming record throughout his managerial career, with just 45 wins out of 178 matches. Meanwhile, United are now set to face Real Sociedad in a tough trip for the first leg of the Europa League round of 16, which remains the only competition they can fight for following their FA Cup exit. Amorim defended his decision to send Victor Lindelof up to take a penalty in the shootout before Alejandro Garnacho, while Fulham boss Marco Silva was delighted with the coolness shown by his players as they booked a quarter-final date at home to Crystal Palace. "I love the composure of our team," said Silva. "I know it is not easy away from home with this crowd. It was a moment for Bernd Leno to do his part, and he did it fantastic." Initially, Amorim arrived at Old Trafford in November as one of the most hunted managers on the market after an impressive time in Sporting Lisbon. The Portuguese has vowed to fight for success at United, pushing for his favourite formation with 3 centre-backs in the defensive line. However, after such radical changes in the club, Amorim admitted there could be a host of departures from Old Trafford in order to secure more players suitable for his system. Both United strikers Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund face uncertain futures at the club, while several out-of-favour players, such as Marcus Rashford and Antony, are already on loan. Meanwhile, in other news, Manchester United want to sign one of the best midfielders in the world. Manchester United are eyeing a summer move to sign Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi for Ruben Amorim. GIVME Sports sources have been informed. The Red Devils are expected to oversee a major squad overhaul this summer as Ineos hope to rebuild the squad in the image of their new manager, despite the struggles he has had since taking charge in November. Financial constraints at Old Trafford mean they must look for value deals in the market, and one player who is now emerging as a target is Spain international Zubimendi. Spain international has a £51 million release clause. GIVME Sports sources can confirm that while Manuel Ugarte has established himself as a key performer under Amorim, Manchester United are still looking to add more legs to the squad during the summer window. Casemiro and Christian Eriksen are expected to be moved on this summer, with the manager admitting they don't provide the dynamic energy required, while there are reservations about using Kobbie Mainoo in the deeper midfield role, as he doesn't have the pace or stamina to perform there and is more effective further up the pitch. A new striker is seen as the priority at Old Trafford due to Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee's struggles this season, but a central midfielder is also high up on the list, and Manchester United are expected to take a close look at Zubimendi when they face Real Sociedad in the Europa League last 16 clash this week. The Spaniard has been described as one of the best midfielders in the world by his national team boss, and rejected a move to Liverpool last summer in order to stay with his boyhood club. But a deal is expected to happen this summer, and a move to the Premier League seems like the most likely destination. Zubimendi has a release clause worth £51 million, which represents fantastic value in a market where Ineos are tightening the purse strings. Reports from elsewhere have suggested that a move to Arsenal is extremely likely, but with Manchester United entering the race, it remains to be seen if they can convince him to move up north instead. Meanwhile, in other news, Ruben Amorim is facing his Erik ten Hag Cristiano Ronaldo moment at Manchester United. Garnacho hit the headlines after storming down the tunnel in the win against Ipswich. Alejandro Garnacho stormed down the tunnel after being substituted before half-time against Ipswich last night. The Argentine international was sacrificed for Noussair Mazraoui on the 45th minute, as Ruben Amorim wanted to bring on a defensive option after Patrick Dorgu's red card. United fans will know that this is not the first time one of their attacking stars has stormed down the tunnel in a strop before the full-time whistle. Cristiano Ronaldo infamously left Old Trafford early after Erik ten Hag refused to bring him on against Tottenham 2 seasons ago. Ruben Amorim is now facing his own Erik ten Hag Cristiano Ronaldo moment with his 20-year-old star. Can he take a leaf out of the former United manager's book when dealing with Garnacho? Ronaldo only appeared 4 more times for United after his touchline tantrum. The all-time great had a fractious relationship from the off with ten Hag, but it was the game against Spurs where things first boiled over publicly. The Dutchman sanctioned Ronaldo by dropping him for the next United game away at Chelsea. Amorim, who has previously left players including Garnacho out of his squad due to discipline issues, could employ a similar tactic to his predecessor. "Was cold and wet, maybe," Amorim said when asked about Garnacho's actions. "The thinking was that we played more in 5-3-1. I know that's a risk because we take the only player now that has 1-against-1 and pace. What I am saying is, I'm going to talk with Garnacho about that. I will talk about that if you want in the next press conference." Ten Hag seemingly ruled the United dressing room with an iron fist. Dropping Ronaldo after his incident was the first instances of him stamping down his authority on his squad. Even though Ronaldo did play for Ten Hag again, and even captained the side in his last appearance for the club in a 3-1 loss at Villa Park, the relationship between the two had broken down after the Tottenham game. Garnacho was dropped against Manchester City, along with Marcus Rashford in December, and was linked with a move to Chelsea last Moncht, although his desire was to remain at Old Trafford. It would not be a surprise if Amorim was to leave Garnacho out of his starting line-up for Sunday's FA Cup tie against Fulham, or potentially even the squad entirely. Meanwhile, in other news, it's not their game. Rio Ferdinand names 4 Man United stars who don't suit Ruben Amorim: Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand has insisted that Joshua Zirkzee, Harry Maguire, Rasmus Højlund and Matthijs de Ligt are not dynamic or athletic enough to slot into Ruben Amorim's preferred style of play. Ferdinand spoke on TNT Sports after United beat Ipswich Town 3-2 at Old Trafford on Wednesday evening. The Red Devils started off terribly, with Patrick Dorgu and Andre Onana getting involved in a calamitous mix-up which allowed Jadon Philogene to tap into an open goal. Amorim's men responded well, restoring parity as Sam Morsy turned in an excellent free-kick delivery from Bruno Fernandes. United would go on to take the lead courtesy of de Ligt, who scored from close range. The game threatened to be turned sour for United after Dorgu was given his marching orders for a reckless tackle on Omari Hutchinson, only for Philogene to equalise just moments afterwards. However, Maguire came up with the goods almost immediately after the break, heading in home Fernandes's corner. Despite being pleased with the result, Ferdinand admitted that the fans are yet to see what they expected when Amorim replaced Erik ten Hag in November last year. Ferdinand said on TNT Sports, "I think if we're being brutally honest, there hasn't been the progress that we all anticipated. Where he came from, how successful he had been, and the silverware he brought to Sporting, the anticipation of him coming was like, wow, what an opportunity we've got now with this young manager, and it hasn't transferred here. I sat with him the other day and you can see there's a desire, there's a work ethic behind the scenes, and he's nipping at everything to try and get this right and turn it around, but things haven't been smooth for him, and he hasn't managed to get it to where he wants to at this point in time." Ferdinand added, "I think he needs to just get to the end of the season, really regroup, and then start building again, building the team and coaching the team, because right now they've been stuttering along, and that's probably being polite. I watched Sporting a few times, in Europe especially. They were an athletic, dynamic team. That was one of the staples of that team, the hallmarks of that good team that was winning things." He continued, "This team aren't a mobile, dynamic team. If you look through the heartbeat of this team, they have other qualities, but being physical, having the ability to overrun teams physically, they don't have that capacity." Asked whether Zirkzee is the type of player that suits Amorim, Ferdinand answered, "Oh, de Ligt, Maguire, Højlund, it's not their game. So I think he needs to find those type of players with the capabilities of carrying out not only tactically what he wants, but the physicality is equally important." During the match, Ferdinand and Robbie Savage also tore into Onana, blaming him for not communicating with Dorgu in the build-up to Philogene's first strike. Savage said on commentary via Daily Mail, "Wow, Dorgu has tracked the run, and the communication between Onana and Dorgu must be non-existent. Credit to Jadon Philogene, the desire, he's onside. But I've got no idea why Onana is running out to that position. Dorgu has got it under control. No problem at all. He shouldn't come there, Onana. I might be completely wrong, but stay. The defender has got it under control, so stay in your 6-yard box. Credit to Philogene. What a start from Ipswich." Savage went on, "The defender has got it under control. I don't think there is a reason why Onana comes out there. You should be talking, lay it back to him on his right foot, and then he can clear it. I don't know why he's come. The defender is in control. Onana, stay in your goal." Ferdinand was equally critical, further stating, "A terrible start. I don't think Dorgu, at any moment, looks up to see where Onana is. Onana doesn't need to come in. The fullback is in complete control, and he can just hold his ground and let him play it back to him. But Dorgu doesn't look, the awareness isn't there, and it's pounced on. Ipswich took a deserved lead for pouncing on that lack of communication." The result saw United climb up just 1 point to 14th place in the Premier League table. The Reds are back in action on Sunday when they welcome Fulham to Old Trafford in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Kickoff is at 16:30 GMT. Subscribe for more inside updates.